Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. We continue. For today, our current guest is Yuriy Kruk, head of Odesa District Military Administration. Mr. Kruk, the floor is yours. As far as I understand, you can tell us more details about partial access to Odessa beaches and launch of passenger traffic across the Dniester liman. Dear representatives of mass media, yesterday we signed important joint orders with the military command, and I would like to share detail with the society, with the public, and to answer your questions if you have any. The first order signed yesterday together to the commander of the operational military group Danube is related to some measures to prepare for partial access to the Black Sea coastline within the city of Odessa under the legal regime of martial law. I would like to say that this is not an order about opening the coastline or about opening of the resorts season, of the holiday season. This order defines the conditions that should be fulfilled to open some parts of the coastline for recreation activities, including access to the sea. Preconditions for the order are the numerous requests to the city of Odessa, municipal authorities, the regional military administration to consider the possibility. That's why some measures were implemented together with the military command, those who are responsible for security. We made joint agreements as for the format. So what is foreseen within these activities? First, that I would like to know is that the safety is the most important thing. To have access to some parts of the coastline. This involves regulatory acts as that were adopted during peaceful times. And when it comes to the access to the beaches and to the sea, here a set of measures is envisaged that involve the protection of the swimming zone with special means. We have wave breakers, and we also have traverse. There will be a special net between traverses and wave breakers that could be seen at least in 50 meters, and the relevant buoys which should also be there. There should be also additional net in the areas of piers, if there are some piers, or at the rear parts of traverses. It should be at least 30 centimeters over the surface of the sea and at least 2 meters under surface. Such measures will allow to protect the area from possible explosives, including mines, that could get to the recreation zone. The set of measures envisages the whole range of additional conditions, like control points, like towers on the coastline that should oversee the whole territory of a beach. These are control points at the end of traverses. Safeguard should be equipped with binoculars, walkie-talkie, safety means, and salvation means. Apart from that, there should be an alert system for the citizens to be aware of the air raid alert. There should be also the way to evacuate people from the coastline, as well as shelters and access to shelters that shall be signed with special notices and that are equipped. The access to the specified parts of coastlines shall be organized from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. during the daylight. Apart from that, there should be a diver's service to conduct periodic examination of the underwater areas to identify possible dangerous items. Until the 5th of June, 2023, and this is also regulated by the order, the Municipal Commission should provide proposals to Regional Military Administration and to inform about the coastline areas that meet the set requirements. After consideration of the proposals and examination of the areas, the final decision will be made by the head of Odesa Military Regional Administration together with the military command. This is briefly about the envisaged procedure that should take place before the final decision-making. The areas which will not be equipped until the 5th of June could be equipped further on with relevant certification, and the decisions will be made by amending the order, which is in force, Order number 16, that was adopted in July last year about the special regime of access of citizens to different areas, including the coastline. This is all about the order from my side. There was also a decision made to ensure to launch alternative passenger traffic across Ovidiopol and Bilhorod-Dnistrovskyi across the liman. This is a joint order by the Odesa Rayon Military Administration, Ovidiopol Rayon Military Administration, and the Military Command that envisages the resumption of passenger traffic in that area. The boat in that area will make trips according to the schedule that envisages the 3 trips from each of the point during one day. I have some clarification answers. As for the boat, 3 times a day is less than it was last year. It's the same. The schedule is the same. I mean that there will be 6 in total. 3 leaving Ovidiopol and 3 leaving Bilhorod-Dnistrovskyi. And one more answer. A question, as far as I understand, it is now responsibility of the municipal authorities to ensure shelters on the coastline. And will the order will be published? Of course, the order will be published. The mandatory part will be have been submitted to the municipal council. And we should speak about 2 components. Some of the beaches are municipal, and this is responsibility of utility services to ensure their readiness. And there are some areas of the coastline which are used by businesses. The municipal council or city council establishes the committee responsible for the examination. The act will be submitted to the regional military administration basing on the results. My question was a bit different. Are you planning to publish fully the order for public access? We have regular procedure as with other acts and orders. That's why we will publish only a part of the order, which is related to conditions and the activities that should be done by the city council and municipal services. Will it be public? Yes, everything will be public because we are an open body. But due to the martial law, some issues cannot be published. Thank you. And now I would like to give floor to my colleagues. Olena was the first. The floor is yours. Olena Milova, Prямий channel. And we have just visited the coastline. All the beaches are available, are accessible. People sunbathe, they just swim. We have not seen any prohibitions there. Do these people violate something at the moment? Is there any administrative liability envisaged? These people violate Order 16 of the last year, which is signed jointly by the Regional Military Administration and the Military Command, establishing the special regime of entry-exit, limitation of movement of citizens, foreign citizens, and stateless persons, as well as vehicles in separate areas of Odessa region under the martial law. So those people who get into the sea on piers, on traverses, violate these limitations. As for the consequences of such violations, people are fully responsible for them. We hope that our citizens are responsible and that they take into consideration the information provided to them, including thanks to you. Because there is the war in our country, and the measures taken are aimed, first of all, to ensure safety. The recent decision was also quite difficult because we cannot speak about holiday season during the war. But we understand that the Odessa region and the city of Odessa, from Langeron Beach to the 16th station of Big Fontaine, this is the coastline area which is under discussion, where we have wave breakers and where no duties are performed by the military, where such access is possible. We cannot have policemen on all beaches, or we cannot have military there for them not to allow people to get to the coastline. That's why we hope that people are responsible about the limitations. And staying on traverses is also dangerous. That's why it is covered by the limitation. So there is no sanction. So if people are blown up, this is the problem of those people. So there are no fines envisaged. People cannot be brought to any liability. It is envisaged by specific provisions. So there are sanctions there, but this is already the task of the national police units that have powers to take measures. But I would like to emphasize we cannot limit the whole movement at the moment. It is impossible. Authorities take the responsibility. And to avoid chaos, there will be some areas which will be under responsibility of local authorities. And there are soldiers who are in Odessa and undergo recreation, their families, etc. And only the Black Sea area in the Odessa region could be accessible to our citizens. And we hope that people will be responsible. And I would like to emphasize this once again. Olga Donska, the Fifth Channel. The question about beaches where there are no traverses, piers where it is impossible to have nets, will they be fenced as it used to be? Their access is prohibited there just through signboards. The access is prohibited through raising awareness. And you remember that last year there were several cases when people were blown up in certain areas. There were casualties. And we cannot precisely tell what areas are mined or not. And there is a complex prohibition, and I'd like to emphasize once more, we have not fenced the whole coastline because we need funds for this. And a person who wants to go and to the sea to swim will find the way to bypass those possible fences. But I think that everyone now understands that there is the war in our country and that the Odessa region is a strategic one. And I cannot tell you about all measures that have been taken for the last 1 year and 3 months. The war isn't over, and our enemy will do everything possible to deal with the region. The second question is about the boat. When it will be launched between Ovidiopol and Bilhorod-Dnistrovskyi. And the next question, do we allow movement of boats along the Danube? Because there are different tours offered on the web by boat near Vilkovo village. The Danube area is not my area of responsibility, but as a participant of the meetings, I can say that there is also a joint order related to the Danube River that regulates the access to islands. As far as I know, there are now 5 accessible islands, and according to the relevant joint order with the military command. As for the boat, it will be launched from the 1st of June, but if the company operator will be ready to do this. The operator is Nibelon company, and it will define the first launch of the boat. There have been the first pilot trip to examine the pier areas. We also plan some activities there after the winter period to create comfortable conditions for our citizens. Ukrainian Radio Odessa, Irina Sычkovska. I have several clarification questions. The first one is about shelters that should be near the coastline. Does the order regulates the number of people that can be accommodated by one shelter? And we understand that the shelters should be first built and then installed. As for shelters, it is envisaged to have equipped shelters in case of air raid alerts. This is one of the items of the orders. So shelters nearby envisage some distances. Of course, we understand that this is impossible to construct such shelters on beaches themselves, but there should be special places which are closer to the coastline, and they should be marked. The first thing that shall be organized is evacuation from the coastline during the air raid alert. And most Odessa residents know, especially those who live not far from the coastline, could see how it happens. Sometimes cruise missiles, Shaheds, drones are shot down, and sometimes there is debris left, as well as other items, which is dangerous for our citizens. We try to foresee everything, and I believe that the order fully covers all the issues and the conditions that shall be fulfilled. I would like to finalize my set of questions about shelters. Who should be responsible for evacuation of people to shelters? This shall be fulfilled by the notification means. There should be loudspeakers to announce about the air raid alert. This is just a thunder. just weather conditions, the sound that we can hear. And there should be also portable means that should be installed on the mentioned control tower and on traverses. Such means should be also carried by lifeguards to inform people about evacuation from a specific coastline area. I have a question about nets. The military says that the sea mines that can sometimes reach the coastline can detonate when they reach the net, and they can reach 200, 300 meters after explosion. Can such nets really save people who are in the sea and on the coastline? I'm not going to share details of how sea mine works, but the measures which will be taken are agreed by the military command, and the military command believes that these measures are exhaustive. We also hope that thanks to visual observation, and I have dedicated some time of my life to the sea, and I can say that the visual observation is the best thing that can be done in the sea. That's why this is the task of lifeguards who will have special visual control means to define possible threats and to timely inform relevant services, including the State Emergency Service and other entities, thus preventing explosion of mines. I'm just keep getting questions from other journalists. The question about the boat. We know that the Dniester liman has been attacked several times. And the question is about economic profit. Will it cover the possible danger as a result of Russia's shelling? Thank you. I'd like to emphasize once again that safety issues are of the paramount importance before making order. Safety first is a sign you can find on the board of every vessel en route through the trade corridors. Before making decision about passenger traffic, we took into consideration everything. But this is not a commercial topic. The company who is responsible for transportation will be definitely at a loss. In case there is an air alert, the movement will be stopped there. Secondly, the danger you're talking about is in a different area of the Dniester liman. And the third thing, this is the task of the military administration, is to keep balance between limitations introduced by the military or full prohibitions and the population needs that we should also take into consideration, because we have a lot of families, women, children who work, who travel to Odessa, and you know that M15 motorway, Odesa is overloaded. That's why such logistics allows to get from Bilhorod-Dnistrovskyi through Ovidiopol to Odessa much quicker than through Mayaki and to Odessa. Moreover, everyone knows that the bridge in Zatoka is out of operation. That's why the movement of vehicles is impossible there. That's why our task was to do everything possible to make it comfortable for people to get to Ovidiopol and then to Odessa and further. That's why I believe that this is a good deed that will somehow improve transportation situation for our citizens. Union has a question to you. Please comment the facts that before the order adopted, some areas of the coastline were already decked with wood, and we know that even before the full-scale invasion, the population did not like that decking. Let's start from the basics. There is the war in the country. There defense forces in Odessa region and in the city of Odessa in particular. And there are certain military units which are deployed along the coastline, performing their duties. As far as you understand, the tasks of the units cannot be disclosed to population. If there, some areas were covered, etc., then there was the objective for this. The decking, we mean the decking that was put there by restaurants and cafes. Believe me, those deckings are needed for defense purposes. Sometimes there are people who do not understand the situation, and they understand threats that exist. And there are constant threats from the sea, including saboteurs. I cannot share with you all the details with regard to the threats. The coastline in the city of Odessa, in the Odessa Oblast, is limited, and we should respect that. So that those wooden decks are from the military. I don't know what do you mean. That was on the 12th and 13th station of Fontaine. There were photos all over the place, and that was and those were. That was the decking around restaurants and nightclubs. And you now say that these are the decking of the military. If you share more details, I can explain what is meant there separately. But this is actually the question of Union. And I would like to make sure that you understand properly my question. I actually have the same question. The question is about the nightclubs that put some decking there. You say that that was the order of the military? No, the decking over the sand. On sand, yes, on sand. So you need to provide more details in your question, because I did not understand what you meant. I thought that there were some barriers to prevent access to the coastline. You see, we're not responsible for business activities. And I think that this question should be addressed to businessmen who received permissions for their activity in on the different areas of the coastline. And I'm not ready to answer the question at the moment. All entertainments are limited in the city. There are some activities that could take place during the daylight. There are some entrepreneurs who continue working and paying taxes. That's why we should find some balance here. This is the question about decking near nightclubs and restaurants. This is not a question about the fences installed by the military. So we need to dig deeper to understand if there were permissions for such activities. So the question is the following: that was made even before the order, that only creates conditions to live up to limitations that were introduced by Order 16. The decking was set there even before the order, and it cannot be explained that those parts between traverses were rented by commercial enterprises, and that that was restoration or something else do not work there. I can say that the military regional administration did not grant such permission, and we will require from all the parties to act according to regulatory acts issued. If there are complaints of the citizens, these complaints should be addressed directly to the national police or to us, and we will be able to examine such situations in more details and to enforce law of Ukraine. And the last question, because we need to finalize our briefing. Can you speak about a small fleet in Turunchuk for tourists? Yes, thank you for the question. We plan to settle the issue during the next week. There were a lot of requests from our citizens because this is also a tourist region. This is a part of the Dniester River and Turunchuk. And there were areas in peaceful times that were popular among tourists. People came there from all over Ukraine. We have discussed the issue together with the military command, and in the nearest future we can expect that some of the limitations will be lifted up. There are 3 tourist routes in the area from the settlement of Yaski, Yaskivska community, and till Mayaki. To the Turunchuk-Dniester, with the possibility to access Bila Lake, White Lake, which is very popular among tourists. There are 3 touristic routes that we would like to make operative again for tourists and locals to have some services there. There will be specific conditions that we are now discussing together with the military. And the 25th Border Guard unit with detachment, which is responsible for that area. And these areas will be open for people. Thank you. That was the briefing of the head of Odesa District Military Administration, Yuriy Kruk, and hopefully you'll come to us again. Please invite me. Please stay tuned. We will have new events tomorrow and the next week.